All right, so I'm going to look at vectors in R. I want to look at vectors in R. Yeah, that's quite simple. Let's look at what vectors are. So I'm just reviewing some of the fundamentals that you need to know in R programming. So I think I'm sharing my screen already. So let me. All right. So I started earlier. If you had watched that video, so I'm going to pull this a little bit down, and then push this a little bit this way, and then I'll come here. I think, and then I'm just going to come here and start. So because of that, I'm going to create a comment in R. When you use hashtag, it means you are creating a comment. So I'm going to say vectors and variables in R. So let's look at in R. If I put something like 4, if I write any figure like 4, it's just there, right? So but I can actually assign this 4 into something. So in R, if I put, let's say, if I create something like this, let's say I can call this maybe VT. That's a variable. It's just like in mathematics when we say x is equal to something. So I can say x is equal to 4. And then when I do, it means I have assigned x to 4. Or I've assigned 4 to x. So the next time, if I just put only 4, x, and I run it, you'll see that it will print only 4 for me. And if I decide to say x plus 2 is now going to multiply what x is containing. So it will give me 6, and then in that order. So it means that x is now a variable. That's what I am talking about. X is a variable. In R, there are some things that we don't accept when we are creating what are variables. For instance, if you want to create a variable, it cannot start with a number. You can't start like, let's say 1 as a variable name. No, it has to always start with an alphabet. So I can say X. So I can say X here, and then I can assign anything at all. So this is one of the assignment operators. You have less than and put dash. Then I can say like something like this. So X is now my variable. You can show the variable, you can create it anyhow. I could have also said X1. And then let's say I will come and just simply assign maybe let's say to 44. And then that is just okay. I can also say X underscore 1. And then I can also assign that to this, and then they are all there. So these are the various ways through which we create variables, and then the variable names. I could also have x.1. That is also accepted. So it's going to be, so if I have x.1, I can assign anything at all I want to it. And then when I run it, immediately you run, and then if it is properly done, you will see that it will come here, it will come to the console, and the color will change to blue, telling you that it is proper. If it was not, it will not. Now, but I cannot say x-1. When you do this and you try to assign, I think the letters have become quite small. If you do that and then you try to assign anything to it, you see that it will tell you that it's an error. Could not find function, something like this. Because X see this dash as a minus, but not. That's why we often use underscore instead of dash. So don't never use dash. Those are some of the things. And you cannot also start with let's say a number. So that's the little that you need to know about when you are creating variable names. It's your own discretion. I could have, for instance, if I wanted to create a variable and call it bigger. So in that case, I can simply just write maybe Biba, or I can say Biba underscore, or I can say Biba underscore one, and then I am good to go. Or Biba one, or I can say Biba dot one or dot two, anything. But I cannot start with, let's say, one here, or I cannot say four here. No, you cannot start with that. That is not, if you see that when you even start typing, I will give you a signal that it is not correct. So these are the basic way through which we create variables and then know how to create variables. You can give any name at all, but it has to start with an alphabet before you can add any figure in which you want to do. Now, let's look at how to create vectors, or what are vectors. You see, what I have done here, I have assigned only a single value to x. So now let's say, let me start with first one, vector 1. So I'm going to say vector underscore 1. And then, so if I come here and I put, let's say 33, I assign 33 to it, it will work. But what about if the numbers are more than, if it is not only 33, you have 33, you have 54, you have 66, and then in that order, how are you going to do it? You cannot. So that is why vectors come in. Vectors allow you to to combine a lot of figures, or a lot of letters into and then assign it at once. So for instance, that's one. But if, let's say, I wanted to do let's say vector 2, and I wanted to assign it let's say 33 comma then 44. Let's run it and see. It will tell you that there's some unexpected something called this. It is because we want to assign more than one. So if you're going to assign more than one, it means you are combining the numbers here. So because of that, we use a function called the combine function. And then the short form of the function is C, lowercase c. And that's how we use to create vectors, because vectors is a combination of numbers, like, or a combination of figures or text that you put them together. So you use C, then press shift and then go and press 9 on your computer. This open and close bracket will simply come telling you that you are ready to now put in your figures over there. So I can now put 33 separated by commas, and then I can have 44. I can now have, let's say, 12. I can now have, let's say, 67. So that way, when I run it, it does all. It means vector 2 contains all that I have here. So I've combined all of them and then I've assigned it. That's how we create vectors. You could also, let's say I want to create another vector, and then I'm going to call that vector 3. And then some of these things, if you want to get this symbol which you have here, it is called assignment operator. This is left assignment operator. We also have right assignment operator. We have equal sign. But in best practice in R programming, we use the left assignment operator to make sure that you're not confusing if you are a beginner, so that you don't confuse. So just remain with this. So to get that particular symbol, press alternate on your keyboard and go and press dash. Hold the alternate key down and go and press dash. Then it will simply bring it for you. So that's how it is. So now I can bring my C and I'm going to create a set of vectors. Let's say I want to create vectors from 1 to 10. So I can just put 1 here is to 10. So in R, when you see colon, it means a range. So you are saying create numbers from 1 all the way up to 10 in that particular order. And so when you do that and you run it, the next time you print vector 3, vt underscore 3, if you run it, it should print 1, 2, 3 up to 10 for you, as you can see it down here. So that's basically what I was trying to say. Now, in creating vectors, you can create vectors of numbers, you can create vectors of characters. All right. So all that I have done here are vectors of numbers. Okay. So let me put here hashtag. So that means it's a comment. So those who were creating what vectors, what is it, of numerous. So we could also create vectors of let's say, characters. Characters are alphabet, like A, B, C, D. Also, but like my name is character. Like any other symbol that is not a figure, like it's not 1, 2, 3, that is a character. So let's say we want to have, um, let's say, vectors of characters. And so when we come here, I'm going to call that one vector underscore, maybe underscore C1. So to mean character, to mean that I'm talking about characters. Or let me just say vector underscore char. So characters. You create variable names in such a way that it resonates with whatever that you are doing. So we go there. It's the same combined function you use, C, then shift and 9. That should give you the open and close bracket. But because you are creating characters, arrow was designed for numbers. So you have to put it in double quote or single quote. Best practice. So I will come here, press your shift and go and press your the key close to your enter key. You will see your double quote. It will come automatically. So now I can put there AB, and then that is quite okay. Then I can come here. But before I start with that, maybe I wanted to just assign one single character. What is it to the vector, or to the variable? Sorry. So I could have just come here and put something like this, and then I can write a whole statement there. As long as all the characters are within the double quote, then it is okay. So I could write there like this, and then when I do it, it is there. The next time I print this, I'm going to see Biba, and then that will be there. But what I cannot do here, I could not have said, let's say I have the second vector underscore SHA2, and then let's say I wanted to, if I wanted to have more than two set of characters, in that case, as usual, you have to use the combine function. I mean, you are combining more than one entity or more than one object. So here I could not have say, let's say Biba, then I'll come out, put comma, and then put another one there, and then put bright. That way, when you run, R will not accept it. So you have to use what? The combine function. So that way, so I will just cut it. And so I will have to start with C, and then open now. Then I'm just going to paste whatever that was inside. So this time around, when I run it, it should be able to run properly. And when you print it, if you come and highlight the variable and then you run, it should be able to print Be Bright for you. And that's how we create characters. We can create characters of A, B, C, D, and whatsoever. Now, you must know that vectors do not take, they don't take the mixed, or what is it, object. Now, here, this is a variable. I've already mentioned that. What you have here is an object. You have assigned the object to the variable. Now, what we have here is also, this is a variable. Now, followed by the variable is a function. You are using the function to create a set of what? Objects. So whatever you have inside here are objects. And we are using a function to create that object, those objects, and that's it. So you should know that anytime you are creating any vectors, whether characters or numbers, then more than one, you have to use the combine function, which is represented by C. Get that into consideration, and then that's about it. So we can create as many vectors as we want. For instance, you could also create vectors of numbers, but there will be characters. R sees anything in double quote as a character. So for instance, if I have, let's say, a vector, it's also a character, what is it, of 3. So, and then, but I want to use, so immediately I put double quote and I put 3 there. R no longer sees it as a number. So you can see the color remains green. If it is a number, the color will be blue. And then take that into consideration. As long as it's a double quote, if I put another one there, let's say 32, and then I put another one, let's say 45. All of them, R will see all of them as characters. So once they are characters, you cannot put any mathematical operation on them. And that's one thing you need to know. You can't put mathematical operation on characters. Yeah, but you can put mathematical operation on the numbers. That's the difference. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to is that when you are creating any vector, the comma you see here. So let's try one here on top here, and then so I'm going to have vt underscore 4, and then let's look at something there. So I'm going to have my combined function, and I want to create let's say 88. Then I have 65. Then I have uh, 89. Sorry, 89. Then I have 5. Let me run. So you see that it runs properly. As long as you have your your comma separating any of them, it will run. But this same thing, when I put the last part comma there and then I run it, it will not. It will tell you that uh, there's an error somewhere. So as you can see, it is in red. So let me brush it. If you run this, it's not going to run because it will tell you that there's an error somewhere on use argument. So why? Because you ended it with comma. When you are creating vectors or even list or anything, it must not end with comma or any mathematical operation like plus, multiplication, division. It must end with either the character in quotes or the number without anything. So here I could not have also put something like plus. If you put it, that is not going to work. You run, it's not going to work. So it mustn't end with any mathematical operation. You just leave it this way, and then you're good to go. Now, let me emphasize on this small assignment operator. So if I come here like this, let me just copy this. And R works like Microsoft Word. You can use Control X to cut, Control C to copy, Control Z to whatever to undo, and then whatsoever. It works just like Microsoft Word, if you understand how Microsoft Word operates. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to change this one to 4, and then come here and do something. Run it and see. You see, this assignment operator greater than and then the dash is they are always together. You can't separate them. So you see that when you separate them, it will throw in an error and tell you that you cannot do that. And then that's basically what I wanted to draw your attention to. Now, if you have created your vectors, you can now apply your mathematical operations or you can do all sorts of things. So the next set of video I want you to pay attention to, or the next part of the video, is for you to look at how to apply some basic mathematics to vectors. And then maybe I'll do that in a different video. But for now, I hope you understand how we create videos and then variables. I don't want the videos to be too long. So that is it. The next video, I'll show you how to be able to apply mathematical operation, do subsetting in vectors, and then that'll be fine. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy the videos, please subscribe and then also recommend for someone to subscribe. Bye bye.